Hariyo Ban in Nepali, it means green forests. The Hariyo Ban Program is named after the famous Nepali saying, Hariyo Ban Nepal ko dhan. We have been working in Nepal, empowering local communities to safeguard their forests, adapt to climate change, and follow principles of environmental sustainability for over 5 years. On April 25, 2015, a devastating earthquake struck the country. With its epicenter in Barpak, in the historic district of Gorkha, the 7.8 magnitude earthquake devastated many parts of the country's central region. The communities we had worked with for over 5 years saw their homes and livelihoods destroyed in a matter of minutes. Approximately 9,000 people lost their lives and more than 22,000 were injured. Over 500,000 homes were damaged or destroyed, and it is estimated that the lives of 8 million people, almost one-third of the population of Nepal, were impacted. More than 2,700 landslides were triggered by the earthquake. Landslides also damaged critical infrastructure such as roads, trails, and irrigation canals, especially if they had poor tow protection measures. Debris from landslides washed into rivers and sometimes blocked them. Much sediment was carried downstream to flatter areas where the waters slow and sediments are deposited. Sometimes this raised the level of stream beds, causing rivers to seek new courses. Sediments dumped on agricultural fields and forests caused loss of productive land. Changes occurred to water sources. Some dried up completely, leaving local women and girls to walk further afield for water. In other places, springs suddenly started flowing where there had been done before. Nepal's green forests were also affected. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations estimated a forest loss of 2.2% in 6 earthquake-affected districts. The total loss and damage across all sectors was estimated at $7 billion. Hariyo Ban sprang into action, taking relief supplies to help many of the communities it partners with. Even while working on emergency priorities, there was a lot of work ahead in terms of recovery and reconstruction. Beyond the tragic loss of life and property, the earthquake caused extensive environmental damage. Hariyo Ban worked with other environmental organizations to provide environmental inputs to the government of Nepal for post-disaster recovery framework and post-disaster needs assessment. It also worked with the government to undertake a rapid environment assessment which gave a more detailed picture of the extent of environmental damage from the earthquake.
So, green recovery and reconstruction means taking an environmentally sensitive approach to recovery and reconstruction after a disaster. And then it also means, if possible, building back even better, restoring ecosystem services so that they can help to protect people from future disasters like landslides and floods. So, for example, in doing green recovery and reconstruction, in the Nepal earthquake in 2015, huge number of houses and schools were destroyed. People need more building materials to build back. So where is the timber coming from? Where is the sand and gravel and stone going to come from? It's very important not to go out, for example, and clear fell hillsides, which could cause future landslides. And similarly, not to mine the sand and gravel from steep slopes or to take it from sensitive areas in stream beds, which can affect infrastructure.
To regain the development progress lost due to the earthquake, it was obvious that Nepal needed to build back safer. This was also an opportunity to build back better. Given Nepal's high disaster risk and high dependence on the environment for natural resources, Building back better was not possible without addressing the environment. A healthy environment will help protect people and investments from hazards like landslides and floods. To build back better, safer and greener, a green recovery and reconstruction package was put together by Hariyo Ban partners for 4 districts: Gorkha, Dhading, Nuwakot and Rasuwa, funded by USAID. The package aimed to build green recovery expertise in Hariyo Ban and ensure this approach translates into effective, sustainable recovery on the ground. Today, it is helping local communities rebuild their lives and in the process, setting up demonstration sites with resilient practices to serve Nepal for generations to come. Even before the earthquake, Hariyo Ban climate adaptation work had built some capacity among local communities for disaster risk reduction and resilience. Some of our community partners who lost houses were able to camp out in greenhouses, also known as polytunnel, and used improved cook stoves that survived the earthquake. In many places, healthy forests helped prevent shallow landslides and bioengineering helped build community resilience.
बायोइन्जिनियरिङको चाहिँ तपाईको चाहिँ एडभान्टेज के छ भने जुन किसिमको चाहिँ यो प्लान्ट्सहरु हामीले युज गरेर आछौं है त्यो चाहिँ इट्स अल्सो स्लोपलाई स्टेबिलाइज गर्ने मात्रै होइन कि तपाईको इट अल्सो बेनिफिट्स द पिपल लोकल पिपल फर एक्जाम्पल हामीले यहाँ अम्लिसो लगाएको छु अम्लिसो इज अ ब्रुम ग्रास हैन भेरी गुड बायोइन्जिनियरिङ स्पेसिस रेकमेन्डेड स्पेसिस फर स्लोप स्टेबिलाइजेसन है र त्यसले ब्रुम ग्रास बनाउँछ र त्यो चाहिँ फर एनिमल्सको लागि पनि त्यतिकै राम्रो छ ब्याम्बू क्रिप वलबाट हामी के गर्छ अहिले हाम्रो रिजल्ट्स कस्तो आछ ब्याम्बू सुट्स पनि आछ स्टेबिलाइज मात्रै गरेको छैन त्यसले वी आर अल्सो गेटिङ ब्याम्बू सुट्स सो होपफुली त्यसबाट ब्याम्बुजहरू आयो भने अझ राम्रो हुन्छ त्यस्तै गरेर अरू कटिङ्सहरू पनि ओभरअल हामीले त्यो होल यो स्लोपलाई स्टेबिलाइज गर्दाखेरि त्यसको सुट्सहरू हामीले फेरि रियुज गर्न सक्छ है फर ट्रान्सप्लान्टेसन फर इन अदर प्लेसेस नेक्स्ट इयर सो अब यो टेक्नोलोजी यहाँको मान्छेहरूले उहाँहरू आफैले फुल्ली पार्टिसिपेट गर्नुभयो र कन्स्ट्रक्ट गर्नुभएको थियो त्यसैले दे हेभ लर्न्ड इट एन्ड आइ एम स्योर सिन्स दिस टेक्नोलोजी इज भेरी सिम्पल है दे हेभ एडप्टेड दिस टेक्नोलोजी र अरू ठाउँ उहाँहरू आफैले पनि गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ
Here, in a small village in Gorkha, even before the earthquake, bioengineering was introduced by planting bamboo and broom grass, which work as a cash crop, while the roots hold on to the soil tightly. While landslides have affected nearby areas after the earthquake, this area has emerged relatively unharmed.
जुन सामुदायिक वन भित्र रहेका सार्वजनिक जग्गाहरुमा कतैतिर भुइँछे हुन लाग्यो भनेदेखि रोकथामको लागि प्रयास गर्ने भए र त्यो चाहिँ नि आइसकेपछि लगाइसकेपछि त्यसको चाहिँ हराभरा भइसकेपछि अब घाँस त्यस्तै दाउरा प्रयोग गर्नको लागि घरायसी चाहिँ प्रयोग गर्नको लागि पनि उनीहरुले फाइदा लिने भए त्यसो भएको हुनाले यो सबैको हितको लागि उपभोक्ताहरुको मन चाहिँ नि त्यतातिर लागि परेको छ सर
However, places like Pairobesi were not so lucky. It was obvious that these places needed to build back better and greener to reduce vulnerability to future disasters. A green recovery and reconstruction approach takes all aspects into consideration. This trail bridge was destroyed by the earthquake. When rebuilding it, we are encouraging the community to reuse wood from the old structure as much as possible to reduce pressure on forests. When new wood is needed, we are encouraging people to treat the timber. The stones, sand, and gravel used in construction are mostly debris from landslides that occurred during the quake. Many people who are working to reconstruct trails and bridges lost their livelihoods in the earthquake. The Cash for Work program is a part of an effort to help them rebuild their lives while they rebuild a greener community. The earthquake also destroyed other critical infrastructure such as water supplies, irrigation, and electricity. This is one of the micro hydro plants that was damaged by the earthquake. As part of the GRI package, it has been built back with no loss of forest during its reconstruction. The greener micro hydro is now supplying power to the village again, and the students can finally do their homework.
पहिला त्यो फलामको पोल नहुँदाखेरि चाहिँ हामीले वर्षेनी चाहिँ के अरे रुख ढल्नु परिरहेको थियो र त्यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ के अरे रुख काटिसकेपछि जरा चाहिँ कुहिरो जाँदो रहेछ, पहिरो जाने सम्भावना धेरै भयो र अहिले चाहिँ के अरे हामीले रुख काट्नु नपरेको हुँदा हामीलाई पहिरोको त्यति सम्भावना नि छैन, बोट बिरुवा पनि के अरे रुखले पनि जोखायो र धेरैमा चाहिँ यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ लाभान्वित भइरहेको छ। त्यही
The microhydro is connected to an irrigation project, which was the lifeblood for many farmers. After the earthquake, many such irrigation canals were blocked by landslide debris. As part of the Green Recovery Package, water storage ponds and irrigation canals were cleared of debris so farms could get water again. When rebuilding, many canals were covered with cement blocks, so landslide will not block the water flow, making the irrigation canal more resilient to future disasters. We also help people build their livelihoods. Many cattle were destroyed in the earthquake, and Hariyo Ban helped communities restock their animals. We started by helping households with goats to replace those that they lost. Encouraging stall feeding of these goats reduces pressure on the forest. Tourism was another important source of income for this region of Nepal, and homestays were supported by Hariyo Ban to promote ecotourism. The earthquake destroyed many homestays in this area. Many households had to live in drafty makeshift shelters the winter following the earthquake. Many homestays hosted tourists in these makeshift shelters that families had built for themselves. However, improved cook stoves were carried on the newly repaired trails. Homestays and tea shops on the trails used these improved cook stoves to run their businesses. Portable metal stoves were also distributed to households at higher altitudes. These fuel-efficient stoves were used for heating as well as cooking.
अहिले त्यो यो चुलाले काटेर हामीलाई कति राम्रो भएको छ। अब भाँडा पनि राम्रो भएको छ, दाउरा पनि सानो, अब धेरै ठुलो लाउनु पर्दैन है, थोरै मात्रै जान्छ दाउरा पनि। अब हामी पनि कति न्यानो हुन्छ, धुवा पनि आउँदैन पहिलाको चुला भन्दा है। पहिलाको चुला भन्दा धेरै दाउरा जान्छ, धुवाले हामीले सबै कालो पर्नुहुन्छ। अहिले भन्दा साह्रै राम्रो भयो।
Women benefit the most from these investments. Improved cook stoves use less firewood and have a chimney so the cook does not have to inhale smoke. Improved cook stoves improve the health of women substantially. Since improved cook stoves use less firewood, women do not have to go so frequently or so far into the forest to collect firewood and are less at risk of gender-based violence and attacks by wild animals. In all our recovery work, we are paying special attention to gender. A special emphasis is placed on creating safe working environments for women in our recovery and reconstruction programs, such as our Cash for Work schemes. Women's groups are getting cash grants and are empowered to lead change and rebuilding their communities.
When we do green recovery and reconstruction, we have to work across many different sectors. This is because natural disasters affect a variety of sectors. For example, in the 2015 earthquake, the housing sector was worst affected, with over 500,000 houses destroyed and damaged. But there were also nearly 8,000 schools destroyed. A large number of health facilities were affected. Much agriculture was affected, and then infrastructure like roads were affected by landslides. So we have to work with all those sectors to see how can they avoid having environmental impacts when they're doing their reconstruction work? We have to build their capacity to understand what those impacts are and work with them to identify alternatives. And then also work with them to see how can they not only build back, but build back better and safer and greener so that they can help to avoid disasters in the future.
To make a lasting difference in the way infrastructure is built, we have trained engineers and communities. Training has improved national, district, and community capacity for environmentally responsible reconstruction. Local radio stations have been trained in order to ensure that our message of green, resilient recovery reaches the community. Training provides guidance on how to take environmental sustainability as well as risk reduction into account while providing disaster response, thus preparing oneself for a long-term sustainable future. The tools are practical and can be incorporated by project personnel and communities into their work, shaping everything they do, making it more green and sustainable. With climate change advancing rapidly in Nepal, we needed to ensure that recovery projects are resilient to climate change. Increased climate variability is already resulting in heavier rainfall and less regular monsoons. Because of more intense rainfall, we needed to take special care in areas at risk of landslides or floods. We are building awareness about flood early warning. Unpredictable monsoons require us to build back using more water-efficient farming methods and experiment with different crops and livestock breeds. By protecting the forest above their water sources, communities can help prevent springs from drying up. Our green recovery and reconstruction work is helping people rebuild their lives while building resilience to future disasters. Together with partners, we are putting in place good environmental practices that will set Nepal on a greener, more resilient path to the future.